I believe what technology is doing is eliminating everybody except the people that can build a brand.
Imagine a world where AI is reshaping our future, but the real magic is in the power of personal connection. Welcome to my new venture, a transformative one-day event that will elevate not only your career, but your entire perspective on modern-day business and branding. Building my personal brand has been a journey for me filled with passion and persistence. Over the years, this commitment has transformed my business, opened doors for me that I would never imagine, and deepened the connections that truly matter. Gone are the days of business cards. Today, platforms like Instagram connect us directly with you, transforming our followers into thriving communities. Join me and thought leaders like Chris Do, Neil Dingra, and Trevor York as we embark on this journey together. Your growth is our mission, and your presence at AKL event will ignite paths you have yet to explore. This isn't just about business, finance, or real estate. It's about crafting a personal brand that is genuinely valuable, authentic, and transformative. It's about living a life that resonates far beyond conventional boundaries of our industry. Ready to elevate your brand? Mark your calendar September 26th and grab your tickets now. This is a one-of-a-kind event you don't want to miss. And remember, investing is sexy, but investing in yourself is even sexier.
We cannot wait to have our next guest on our show. She has been a celebrity speaker at 2 of our Modern Day Wife events in 2023. So let's say we have really gotten to know her and we love her vibe and personality.
Polly always brings a wholehearted inspiration, education, and fun. And she currently stars on Selling the OC.
Ooh.
So welcome to the show, Polly.
So great to see you guys again. It feels like it's been 5 minutes, but it's been, almost a year.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I actually cannot believe that it's literally going to be July. It's kind of scary.
You guys look fabulous. I want the outfit details because I'm going to steal
halo.
that and wear it for,
These are black
the next
halo.
season.
We actually wore on the cover of our magazine there. Megan wore blue.
Ooh.
And I wore black. And we
So
love
cute.
these so much. So we have it in white and
pink.
hot pink. that
I love
we'll be
it. It's
recording
perfect
in.
for like business chic, but obviously I'm always looking for fun stuff for the office,
Yes, exactly.
It's so funny
Yeah.
because a lot of people only dress up like they do on the show.
Interesting.
I don't. Like, I was in the office earlier today in LA, stopped by, and this is like my go-to. Like, I dress up for work and I really love it. Whereas, some other people kind of switch it on for the show and then the rest of the time they're in like sweatpants and I'm like,
But I love that though. Like, I think, we know that you get shit done and make things happen. But I
Right.
think when you're dressed up, it's different for your mindset.
oh yeah,
Like, I think I
100%.
feel like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah. And I'm very much a believer of like dress for the job that you want.
Mhm.
So, when I was unemployed, when I just moved down to OC, I didn't know anyone. I wasn't a realtor yet. Like, I would be walking around ready to go. Like,
that.
One of our first digital events during COVID, we interviewed Julie Chen. Do you know, she's the host of
Yeah.
CBS Big Brother.
yes, yeah.
And she was telling us when she first got her start in Jersey doing like newscasting that her boss told her, like, it was raining one day
Oh, this
and
is
she
such good
didn't wear her
advice.
heels. And her boss was like, sorry, we can curse, right? It's our own podcast. Like,
Yeah.
so are you fucking kidding? Like, you wear heels, like you dress for
The next job
Yes,
you want, though,
yes.
is actually what she said. Like, you don't dress for the current job
Right.
you want, you dress a level up. Then, like, I remember that stood out because it's true, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and especially for, when we're in the office, like if you look like you're just slobbing around, we get people walking in off the street who want to live in the area. We've had like legit billionaires just stop by because of the show. They obviously know our
Yeah.
brand, who we are. And it's like, who are they going to want to have represent them finding their house? Someone who is dressed up, who looks nice, or someone who looks like they've just come from the gym. Like,
Well-
it's kind of, this job is I feel like I'm never working, but I'm working all of the time.
Mhm.
Like, it literally, there's no days off, but I'm not chained to my desk from 8 till 6. Been there before, done that, not suited to it. Absolutely horrible.
You're like, no, thank you.
It's just, I just feel like you've always kind of got to be ready to go and look the part, and things will happen.
It's true.
I think too, like, I'm from New York and Megan's from a big city, Vancouver. You're from London.
Well,
I was going to say UK. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm just going to go with
London
London.
is in the UK, but I originally am from the north of England. So
Okay, smaller town.
Manchester is my
Manchester.
nearest city. Everybody kind of knows the football scene there.
Yes, I just watched the
Yeah,
documentary on
but I
David
actually
Beckham.
left home really young. I was 16. So I got scouted as a model and I moved to Paris. I was in Paris for 3 years from 16, 17 to 20. So I've lived away from the north for longer than I was there, which is wild.
So
yeah.
crazy.
I've been in LA now since 2015. I lived in Manhattan 9 years. I grew up on Long Island, and now I've been in LA as long as I lived in Manhattan. But the reason why I'm saying this is because working in Manhattan, I would wear tights. What are those
So
skirts?
cute.
Like a pencil skirt.
skirts, high heels every single
Oh,
day.
yeah.
Well,
And then you move to LA and you become like a schlep.
isn't it
like
crazy?
That I
though?
was
Like,
shocked when I moved over here.
Yeah.
That, like, not only how far kind of behind the fashion is, but how sloppy it was. Because I was always I was a model forever in London. That was my only job, and I'd be in like little like really fitted stuff all of the time. I wasn't in, the normal like model uniform. I've kind of always, gone against the grain on certain things. And I'm just like, I don't give a fuck. Like I went to New York to try and get, an agency out there. And people were like, you have to wear black to everything. And I'm like, no fucking deal.
You're like, I'm doing what I want.
Yeah, you
I'm
what
never
I
going to
want.
do that. I'm
Anything.
never going to do that. So, I ended up getting an agency there, and it was kind of like I've always kind of done my own thing with fashion and stuff. But yeah, I was super shocked when I got here that how like casual everything is.
It's so interesting. I think it's cool when you stand out because I think people do notice that. But for me right now, I'm competing in a pageant and I'm learning to walk in heels. Like I'm taking a course because I realize, kind of like you said, like I live in Florida right now. No
Right.
one's wearing heels. There is an art to walking
Right.
and posture. I'm like, oh my God, this is a lost technology. Like we should learn this in school because you look so much better.
Yeah.
Like I was watching some of the videos and I love that you dress up every day because you're practicing every day. I'm like, I'm not, but I feel
Right.
so different.
Yeah.
I'm like more women
Really
need
does.
that.
Like
it's
it-
crazy.
Even in heels, it makes you stand better. It makes you just present yourself more,
But I have
Get
a few
better.
questions about fashion for a second because I'm
Yes.
struggling now in like a certain. I can use this excuse forever, but I have a 4-year-old son, right? And you can't use the excuse forever. You haven't gotten back to your old shape. But like, I don't know where to shop anymore. Like we were actually talking
Yeah.
about this earlier, that it's like really where I shop, and I'm embarrassed to say this, is H&M because I don't know where to shop anymore.
Yeah.
So like, where are you buying these outfits from?
I have a lot of clothes. Like I have 2 huge wardrobes that are, I'm kind of a hoarder in that sense, that I have things from, when I was 17 years old that because
Oh
I've
my
not really
God.
changed shape. I've
Right.
not had children. Like I've not really I don't really fluctuate in, in that. So I've got stuff that are, 20 years old, and I will still mix that with, new
Wow.
stuff today. I've got a few designer pieces mixed in there. And I just like, there's no rule. For me, there's no rules. It's kind of, put that clashing print with each other,
Mhm.
Everyone always laughs because they never know what kind of character I'm going to show up as because my wardrobe is so eclectic. And one day I'll be like, like soccer mom vibes, and the next day I'm in like crazy, couture or
That's
like
so fun.
crazy prints, or I really have a lot of fun with it. And I get things. Zara is great, H&M is great, like the European stores.
So much
I
better.
would, but I mean that's the European in me.
I think
I'm
it's
always gonna.
true though.
But the Zara in Paris, I was
it's
there like
better.
I guess now it was 2018. It was so different. It was so
Yeah.
much better.
Yeah.
Like
The Zara in
shockingly.
Spain is amazing. Like it's a
Really?
Spanish brand. So yeah, when I lived in Spain, I was like, wow, this is the.
You
Why
went
aren't they
to
having that in the
everywhere.
United States? Like I don't
I
understand.
know.
What do they
Because
think
importing
we are? What do
probably
they think
though,
of
right?
us? Like,
Importing what people are
Well,
gonna
because
buy.
it like people, they kind of go based off what people are buying and what they look like. So, the Zara here. I'm actually going to go to Zara after this because last night my girlfriend was like, oh my God, Zara here right now is like, it's like a Zara in Europe. And I'm going to go
I'm
and
going
film
across
my
the
boots.
street.
Yeah,
Like,
I've got a photo shoot on Saturday and I'm like styling myself for it. And it's a very like, it's going to be a sunset golden hour at the beach, like gorgeous kind of, soft feminine shoe. And so I want like linen shorts. I want linen, like so apparently Zara is the place to go this week.
Okay. Done.
Yeah.
Doing
Definitely going. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, it's so interesting. I love what you were talking about with your personality and all the outfits, because I feel like since we met you, Megan and I always said the first time we had you at Here for
the
Dreams
blue skirt
on the panel.
high boots. I'll never forget it.
You just
I can't even remember what
I
was.
remember. Yeah, I do too. And you didn't. It was the little jacket.
It was just so great.
It was so cute.
Oh no, you were cold.
You were
ended up
cold.
buying that jacket from Magnolia Loft.
That's right.
Okay,
but you.
Oh yes,
yes,
girl came out to the middle of the panel.
On the rooftop.
Yes, yeah.
But you looked so great. But then you also just have the best personality, and I think that's what has, in my opinion, lands you all these crazy opportunities. You're a mover and you're a shaker. And at our event, you told a really great story. So I know today Megan and I are like, okay, we have to have Polly tell this story because I don't know. I guess if we had this perception, we're like, you're just on a show and that's always what you've done. But then when we hear the backstory and the nitty gritty of like how you got on the show, I think for us, we're like, wow, that's relatable, right? And I think sometimes when you see people on TV, you think it's not. I don't know. You're just like, oh, I could never do that, or never get on a show, or never
it's
have
always
that
been
happen.
easy.
Yeah, it's always been easy. And
That
for
is
you,
a perception that I am like,
but it's not.
No, like I left home at 16. Like I've like gone out for every single thing that I have achieved or failed at and moved on. And like I've got a really, really thick skin. I was a model for 20 years. So it's kind of like I've had 10,000 no's in my life for opportunities. And that is, I have never taken it personally. It's kind of like, okay, cool.
It's amazing.
Like I don't know whether that's something that you're born with or something that, my hometown is very, very small. Everyone knows everyone. My brother and my sister both married their high school sweethearts.
Oh my God.
It's that kind of vibe. And I was like, this isn't my life. Like, I know that this isn't for me. And I will do anything and like try anything to kind of make sure that this is not my life. It's a beautiful town, like it's a very picturesque, but I just knew that small town living was not something that was comfortable for me.
I totally understand. I struggle with this so much in my life that I want the normalcy. I want like the family and the this and the trips and my summer camp. But then I also want to like walk into a restaurant and be like, oh, Megan, you're here. We have your seat waiting for you. Right? Like I do. And the only way you get to it, and I'm not trying to say it obnoxiously, but it's like, yeah, we all want to be treated well. It's fun, right? It's just fun. It's exciting. It leads to more opportunities, right? We got these great clothes. But the thing is that yeah, it's hard to have both of those lives. And we were just saying actually before this recording that I was like, well, the more money you have, the more you could just pay people to do it. Right. Well, that's the real.
It is true. It's interesting, right? It's like sometimes you want that and then it's like, oh, that game might be a little too boring. So then you need to add more. But it's like that constant battle of like going big, having downtime.
And having the balance is good. Honestly, I've still not worked out the balance. My life has always been kind of, hectic, chaotic, crazy, jumping from one thing to the next, and I really do want that stability and like, infrastructure of like the perfect family. Like I do want children. I do want like a normal life. However, normal life has never happened to me. And I'm just like, I hope that I can have that. My move down to OC from LA, that was me literally giving up, like not giving up, but being happy with what I had achieved in like entertainment. I was a model, I'd been in a couple of films, like that kind of stuff. COVID obviously like ended everything, for kind of a year. And I was like, do you know what? I'm done. Like I was turning 35 and I was like, I'm done. Like I've got 20 years of like great stories to tell my, kids one day. I've got a million pictures from magazines and all of kind of this stuff of travel around the world. Like now I'm ready to live like a normal, boring life, and I'm going to move down to OC and I'm going to get my real estate license and I'm going to settle down and I'm going to find a nice guy and I'm just going to live a nice life. And I've had these like crazy experiences that I'll always have and cherish. Didn't quite
Didn't go that way,
happen
did it?
like that. So like I tried to have like the, suburban, like normal life, and it apparently just is not for me. So hopefully I do get that at some point, but it's definitely not going to be the next.
And I think,
2 years.
think also that is what I was talking to this woman from Newport Beach, and she told me, she was like, all the entrepreneurs and she was a little more condescending. She was like, all the wannabes or whatever live in LA. People who are trying to make it. And she's like, and all the people have really made it.
Right.
And now they're just are living in Newport Beach. And there is something to be said about, because I see this at our own events here in LA, that it is all, and even myself, it is people who have big goals and like aren't necessarily living a conventional lifestyle. That's right.
Right.
And I think for me, it's like, I'm not conventional.
No.
I try to be, and
Right.
I'm not really,
Well, I think that's what modern day wife is, though, right? Because we are those people that are like, okay, there's something different. Like we have big goals.
Yeah.
We're ambitious, but maybe you do want to be a mom. Maybe you do want to be a wife, but not everyone needs to fit in like the perfect box with the perfect house and the perfect
Right.
car. It's like, what kind of impact do you want to do, or what makes you feel good?
Yeah.
Like maybe we were saying earlier today, we're like, things aren't perfect. Like it is crazy and it's chaotic and it's messy and you're busy and maybe not sleeping and have a million emails, but so what? Like it's
Right.
going to get done.
Yeah.
It's going to get done if you want it to get done, and
Yeah.
it can go your own way. So I think that's what's been cool about it.
And you guys really do, showcase not only from yourselves, but from your guest speakers, from, all of these different events, that you honestly can have it all. Like you can, it's if you've got the drive and if you've got, the mentality of like, the thick skin, the hustle, you can have it all. Like it's there for you. And,
Well, that's one of the things we wanted to talk to you about. I think we have like two main things we want to talk to you about. So one is like, yes, the hustle, like what it really took when you started in real estate, like how you were willing to give it all, that story.
Yeah.
And then, like we want to talk about, Megan and I went to our favorite restaurant in OC is Joey's,
which is from Vancouver. It's
yes, it's a Canadian
one.
scene.
So we want to hear about dating life in Orange County. So
We're like, what kind of
let's
men
start
are
with
there?
number one.
You want to go number one first? Yeah, I think so. We'll get into the dating last.
Well, tell us about like when you told us the story of how you would take any job, like how you got into Oppenheimer.
Yeah. So I just mentioned I'd been living in LA for 9 years, modeling, bartending. I managed a restaurant. I was working at an architecture firm. I worked at a startup. I was doing the LA thing, like modeling and doing 4 other jobs at the same time. I was moving around a lot. I stopped modeling when I was going through my divorce with my ex-husband. Lasted 4 years. It was really hard, whatever. And then 2020 decided to move down to OC, settle down, have a normal life. I'm going to get my real estate license. I'm going to have a boring job. I'm going to have, this is it now. Like I want to settle down and find kind of a normal guy. And, being in LA, there's not really much of that, like you were saying, like, being 35, 36 and single and working in a bar, totally normal. But for me, I'm like, no, like this is
yes.
I'm like, I don't want this life anymore. I don't want to be getting home at 3:30 in the morning after a shift and having to be like, I'm like done.
Yeah.
So I moved on to OC, didn't know hardly anyone. I knew like one person there. And started studying for my real estate license and was driving home one day and a huge building in Corona Del Mar, like 5 minutes away from my apartment, was all boarded up and it said the Oppenheim Group coming soon, like on the front boards. And I had literally just started studying my online course for my license like days before. And I literally saw it and I was like, oh, perfect. I'll work there then. Like,
so no consideration. Just
no,
like, that's it.
No.
Done.
I was like, oh, great. That works.
I
And
love
obviously
that.
I knew that they were doing like a huge $1 million renovation on the building, making it super cool. And I kind of thought, oh, well, they're going to be hiring new agents to fill this new office, obviously. So I had heard of the Oppenheim Group. Obviously, it's a globally recognized brokerage brand. I had heard of Selling Sunset in 2020, especially like the show on Netflix just like skyrocketed. I'd never watched it. I don't watch reality TV. Like I'll dip in and out of the Kardashians because it's Kardashians. But yeah, I had never watched it, but I was really serious on being a realtor, and I wanted to go in at a luxury market. I didn't want to kind of do the thing of like, oh, well, I'm going to start at some, white cube and work my way up and then reach luxury. No, I wanted to start there. And I was like, okay, like it's the kind of cliche, like ex-model turned realtor. And I'm like, yeah, I'm happy to be that cliche. Fine. I know I'm going to be great at it. I've got an accent. I'm going to use and abuse it. Like,
so amazing.
This job is perfect for me. Like, it's
So
a no-brainer that this, is going to be good for me. I don't have to go to school for 5 years. I don't have to, there is an amount of studying, 5-6 months, whatever, but the investment to get your license is minimal and there's no ceiling of how much you can earn. That for me, I was like, this is perfect. Like, I'm going to, this is the perfect
You
job
just
for me.
sold
But
me.
I love that. I'm like, I feel like no doubt.
You can literally get
I love
licensed and
that.
the next day open an escrow for $100 million house. Like, there's no... I mean, I wouldn't advise that, I buy like a seller to use, a freshly licensed agent if they don't have a mentor or whatever. But like, there's no law against that. Like, people can do that. So for me, I'm like, this is amazing. Like, I want to not be put in a box of like, okay, you're going to earn 50 grand for the first 2 years and then you'll move up to 7. Like, I was like, no, I want to make hundreds of thousands of dollars immediately. So yeah, I saw that the building was being taken over by the Oppenheim Group and literally went on the Oppenheim Group's website, and my boss now, Jason's, email is right there. Like, he's a broker. So cold emailed him.
I love this.
Literally
So bold,
that
right?
day, just being like, hi, like, you don't know me. Like, I was very, very smart in my email though. So I, first of all, fluffed it out that like, I respect you so much as an entrepreneur, businessman, blah, blah, blah. First sentence was, I'm originally from the UK, letting him know that I've got an accent, and I used to model for 20 years, letting him know that I'm hot. Like,
But you gotta like use the bait, right? Why not?
For sure. So, really respect you and your, what you've done. See that you're opening up in OC. I've just started studying for my license, and I would love to be involved in any capacity, whether you need an assistant, a receptionist, I don't know. Like, I just wanted to be in the office, just
So
in my
good.
head to learn by osmosis. I was not expecting to be hired as an agent. Put a photograph of myself at the bottom of the email, obviously.
Check.
And he replied back within 20 minutes saying, I am down in OC tomorrow checking on the construction, like making decisions on the office. Like, if you're around, do you want to come meet for a quick chat and, whatever? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So, I'm telling my sister and she's like, what? Like, you are meeting Jason Oppenheim. I'm like, yeah, tomorrow. Like, I'm just like going to pop down and like have a chat to him, whatever. And she's like, oh, but knowing him so well now, that is wild that he replied within 20
Really?
minutes. He
Very
gets
bold.
thousands of emails a week with people from all over the world being like, how do I work for you? Let me work. It was just so serendipitous that it was the right timing of him. He hadn't hired a single agent. So it was 6, 7, 8 months away from the office being ready, but he was kind of coming down to like build out his team whilst the office was being, renovated. So the next day I went and met him. And then he like gives me an office tour of like, oh, this is going to be there. This is going to be there. We're going to be putting the gym there. And I'm like, this is amazing. Like I'm studying, like I want to get involved. And he's like, well, I'm not hiring like staff. I've got all of that kind of in place, but I need new agents. So, once you get your license, then you're in. And then he was like, I'm actually going to lunch with an agent who's been in the business for like 10 years. He's hopefully going to join the Oppenheim group. So why don't you come along? And I'm like, okay. So I end up at this lunch, and it's Jason and a guy called Justin Itzen, who is now my business partner. So they're kind of like interviewing each other, because Justin was moving from a different brokerage. He had been in the business for a long time. So obviously it was a calculated risk for him to move to a different brokerage. And, so I'm sat there and they're interviewing each other, and I'm just like, this is wild. Like, I don't know how I'm just like eating my sushi, just being like, oh, wow, okay. And so they kind of, make it that it's like, oh yeah, congratulations, like I want to join. Yeah, I want you to join, shake hands, like welcome to the team. And they look at me and I'm like, you guys know that I'm not licensed yet, right? and Jason literally looked at me and was like, you're going to be fine. I had no idea about the show for 2 months. So me and Justin...
did he know, though, at that point?
Probably, I think. Okay. I think it was kind of in talks, but he wasn't opening that office for the show.
Got it.
He was opening it because the real estate there is phenomenal, and it's close enough that he can kind of like dip in and out from each office. So me and Justin was moved over, and his volume was so big that he was going to hire an assistant. But because I was learning, I was like, well, instead of you hiring an assistant, like I would love to help you out so that I can kind of learn on the job. And, I wasn't getting paid for it. I was like literally learning. I was doing all of the, schlepping around, doing
like the signs.
The work that
nobody wants to do.
So
really.
A lot of his stuff back then was like out in the sticks, like Corona, like Riverside, and it was like under $1 million, like all of that kind of business for him. I was like, kind of like learning the ropes on, and we became really close. I, really showed him, how much I care about not only properties, but clients, that he could trust me with his clients to represent his brand and the Oppenheim Group really well. It's like really get on with his wife. His kids call me Auntie Pee-Pee. Like, so
Auntie Pee-Pee?
Yeah.
That's really cute.
So, he became my mentor. So he mentored me. I mean, still very much mentors me. You learn something new in every single transaction, which is something that I love on this job. But, we work so well together as a duo that, now we're, business partners, and we're,
so cool.
So it was a couple months later, Jason was like, why is your Instagram private? And I'm like, I've got too many weird ex-boyfriends and husbands, and like, I don't want them to like.
How many husbands?
Only one. But I don't want them to like be snooping on what I'm doing. Like, I've kind of, I'm not like an Instagram model. I was never that, whatever. And Jason was like, well, we're doing a new show, and I want to introduce you to production. And it was like, literally, I was like, oh. Am I going to be on this fucking show then? Like, I have an accent. I'm a new agent. I used to be a model. Like, I am so on brand. And it took me a minute to like even be like, oh, okay, this experience of like me moving down here and having a normal life, this is not going to be happening. Like this,
like done. That's done.
And like all of my, my friends and family and stuff, like I've had so many like, wild kind of opportunities just kind of like happen like that not one person was shocked or surprised. I was like, no, but that wasn't my plan. And they're like, it's such a Polly thing to do that you've ended like you literally have done this. So yeah, Jason put me forward to production, and he had hired probably 15, 20 agents at that point.
Wow.
He put
that's amazing.
He put everyone forward to production. and people had conversations with Adam DeVillo and Skylar, his right-hand man. And yeah, I had one conversation, and they're like, "Congratulations, you're cast on this show." And I'm like, "Wow, that's
So
wild."
not everyone is on it.
There was only me and Gio that got cast.
Wow.
How many people were on in the beginning?
Well, the other agents who were on the show, they were casting all brokerages across Southern California.
Oh.
So everyone else's like casting process, it was so different to mine. And I learned this, 6-12 months later, because I'm like, I mean, it was wild. I had like one conversation and they're like, "Yeah, you're in." And other people had like months and months of like 8, 9 interviews, like different rounds. And I'm like, oh, that wasn't my
well, even some of those people on the show now are not like exactly, I'd say, a shoe in. Like not everyone is, I don't know. It's interesting. It's not everyone is super Hollywood.
Right.
Some people are.
Like they don't fit the dynamic or what you're
Yeah,
thinking.
it's
you're
different.
like, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah.
They chose this. Like, why this
Well,
person?
it's different as well, because anyone can like put on, a front, or if they're, in their interviews, they can be the bad bitch.
That's right.
They can
That's
be
different.
the I don't take any shit, whatever. But then as soon as you've got cameras in front of your face, people like, you can't keep up that charade for really that long. And our filming process is so intense. Like last year we filmed season 2 and 3 back to back. We started filming the second week of January. We didn't finish until September.
Holy.
And I was filming like,
Oh my God.
3, 4, 5 days a week, every week. So it's kind of like, if you are pretending to be someone that you're not, you can't keep that up.
Yeah.
You absolutely can't keep that up.
I mean, that's that would be hard. And that's
Yeah.
probably why it's been so easy for you, because I feel like you're just
100%
straight shooter. You're just
100%
real.
myself
Yeah.
the whole entire time.
Yeah.
But how do they? These are maybe not like, I don't know. You could say if it's not appropriate, but like, do they compensate you for your time? Like,
Oh yeah, we get paid from Uncle Netflix. He's
Okay.
my favorite uncle.
Okay, I was just wondering. I'm like, what if
Like,
like
they say it for
you're
free.
spending all this time on the same
Yeah.
house because you have to
Yeah,
shoot
yeah.
the same thing and
Yeah.
you're not making the money in the sales?
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
I was.
How does
Yeah,
that
we
work?
definitely get compensated. Obviously, season 1, it wasn't a lot. I think, definitely Gio spent more on his wardrobe than he got paid. But then, each time we get
funny.
picked up and we, kind of renegotiate our contracts, and it gets
It builds.
nicer and nicer,
Mm-hmm.
But that's why me partnering with Justin really works well in business and in our personal lives, because he is not cast on the show. So for us to present as a duo, not only are we male-female duo, which we can kind of like appeal to everyone, because
Right.
he'll bro out with the guys and I'll like talk handbags and shoes with the women, or
So funny.
But you have to
or
have
the
that,
single
though, right? It's
guys will
Yeah.
want me to be a part of it, and then Justin can be like the business guy with like it. The dynamic really, really works. And also because I am on the show and Justin isn't, if somebody is really into the show, we've got that covered. If they're not, we've got that covered. I'm not all show. We're not all show. So it's kind of the perfect duo for business.
I have like a personal question, because I'm like, you know so much about business. Like, I feel like just your mindset, you're like, yep, I'm going to work there. Yep, I'm going to find a mentor. Like, yes, I'm going to do that. Yeah, we're the perfect duo. Was that always you? I'm like, or did you,
Yeah.
did some, you just always
And I
had
don't know
that?
what
I'm
that
like,
is
it's
from.
so-
I think I'm pretty naive in my just that I feel like nothing is impossible, and why not? Like
I
if
love
I,
that.
it's kind of like, yeah, I'm going to work at the Open Eye Group, of course. Like, duh.
But more people
Like,
need to hear that,
like,
though. 'Cause it's like,
you know.
yeah, some people are just their own stop. So that's why I'm like, okay, I love that you're just so transparent about that.
But I am
feel
not
like,
afraid of a
Yeah.
no. Like,
yeah, Yeah.
And I think that probably is from modeling. Like I got way more no's than I did yeses, but I had a super successful career for 20 years. So it's kind of like a no for me isn't a personal word. I'm just like, oh, thanks for not wasting my time. Next.
Wow.
Like I'm
need
not
that.
I don't get like caught up on like, oh, but like, oh, I really wanted that. Yeah, like of course, but like you'll,
No, it's
the next
really
no
valuable.
it's kind of cliche, but the more no's, you're closer to the yes.
Well, I think people need to hear that because, well, we sell all the time. We have girls on our team that sell, and some people do crumble under a no.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it's just downhill. You just see the stats just go down, or their life starts to fall apart, and then more bad things happen. So I'm like, it's good data to give, because the reality is you're going to get a no at some point from something. I mean,
And you should,
because
like it's good to get no's.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you just have yeses throughout your life, like if something not great happens, you're not going to be able to deal with it.
Yeah.
Like I feel like, that is a really important life lesson.
Yeah. I for me, it's been really interesting. So I kind of started out how you are. This is like a stupid example, and it's probably really old for me to use it at this point. But when I was 16, it was my friend's sweet 16, and her sister worked at 17 magazine in Manhattan.
Okay.
So we took this was a thing on Long Island. You would take like a limo to the city back when people took limos, right?
Right.
Which, by the way, that's like a little photo shoot that I want us to plan.
It's totally throwing back to high school.
So
I
cute.
would rent limos with the girlfriends, and we would go down to Toronto and party and have our bougie Laguna Beach style parties. Yes, we could do a limo shoot for sure.
Okay, we're gonna do a gray one. But so we took this limo. We went to the 17 magazine party with all these adults for her sweet 16, and I remember there were these people going upstairs, and there was an upstairs area, and it was the VIP section, and I was like, I want to go up there.
Yeah.
And of everyone, this is how it always was growing up. Everyone's like, no, you can't do that, and you can't do that, and blah blah blah. And I was like, I'm going upstairs. So I went to the steps, and I asked the guy, I was like, how do you go up? He's like, you have to have like this little cupcake thing. So someone came down, and I was like, can I have your cupcake? And they gave it to me. I took Carrie and Lisa, my best friends, and we went up to the VIP pre-party. So I do understand that viewpoint, but it's interesting for me. It's almost like flying. I did fundraising for a long time, and I flew all over the world to speak. And the more that I flew, the more scared that I got to fly, which is the reverse.
Right.
So it's weird. The more living I've done, actually, the more that I'm sort of then like started to be like, well, I don't know, maybe I can't have that and blah, blah, blah. So it is refreshing that you've maintained that, because like it's stupid. It is my own decision, right? So it's like,
I don't think you're the only one. Like, I think that's what happens to adults, right? Like, I think that's why sometimes they say, oh, it's good when you have kids, because they open your eyes to that magic of like believing that you can do it, because it really is. It is just you. Like, it's like, well, who said you can't do that?
And like, don't get me wrong, like I faced
who said
real
that?
adversity. Like I've been on my ass multiple times where I have felt hopeless and like in a really dark place, but I always get myself out of it, and I'm like, right, Brindle, come on, like this is not forever. Like the worst was like the architecture firm. It was so bad, and I was in the office from 8 till 6, and then I was driving to work in a dive bar 7 till 3.
Oh man.
Like 4 days a week, and I was so exhausted. I was in debt, so much debt, and I was really actually depressed. Like I was not happy, and I'd have to sit in the car like pep talking myself to get out of the car and sit in the boring white box and like whatever. And it got to the to the point where I was like, I need this job because I need to have healthcare and I need to pay my rent, and this is the only option. And I remember sat there and I was like, I just not sure whether I can do it anymore. And I don't know what it probably happens every year. I don't know. But I was having kind of a moment. And all of a sudden, I am not kidding, thousands of butterflies like just swarmed my car.
Wait,
and it was like these red admirals, and apparently it's like this thing where they all move down the whatever. But there was like thousands of butterflies, and I was like, oh my god, okay, this is a sign. And I literally walked into the office being like, okay, this is a sign, and I got fired that morning.
You got fired?
You're like,
so,
okay,
God. And I was like, great. Like this is amazing. Like I've just had this sign. Like, but so for me, I'm kind of woo woo like that. And like I say, every kind of no or setback for me, I'm like, okay, cool. Like I'll just pivot. And if I that day I walked into a bar, like a restaurant, and I was like, are you hiring? And they're like, we're hiring a manager. Can you do that? I'm like, yeah, sure. No
Great.
fucking clue.
Like,
And I ended up managing a restaurant. Like I literally just walked in and asked for a job,
God.
and they were like, okay, yeah, we need a manager to start like tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, I can do that. I literally just walked in, got the job after it was like,
just commit.
yeah. So, it's, it's not all just landed in my lap. I definitely go out and ask for it. I don't think people are lucky. I think, you have to be available and you have to say yes to opportunities.
That's right.
Because opportunities are always presenting themselves to you, but you've got to say yes to them.
It's so
You
true.
know?
I think some people are just like, and pass, or just don't make themselves available. They say yes,
well,
and then they
I
don't
can't
show
do
up.
that because I need the healthcare, or I need which is a thing. But like
Yeah. I'm like, it's true. I'm like, what about the yeses with the men? I'm like, we got to
Well,
move into the dating category.
We have only a couple of minutes left, so we should.
Oh,
We
I'm
do
a
want to know
talker. I'm
we
like,
want to
No,
know
we
the
love it though.
dating.
I was like, we got to know the scoop on
Yeah,
your.
so-
How do you commit in the dating
So
scene? Or
are
how
you
find the one?
dating?
Well-
And where do you meet guys? And are you using the apps?
Those
are the questions.
So
Heavy loaded. Let's just get to
am I
it.
dating? So I was not open to dating for 3 years.
Okay.
I had started tuning career, the show, real estate.
But no
I-
sex too for 3 years.
I did not say that.
Oh, see,
I did
you
not
have to
say that.
clarify these
But
things.
I
Okay,
have
go
been
on.
basically like dating like a dude, not
Okay.
dating, but like having, I've got a special friend, or
Got it.
like,
Yes.
but I'm very, very good at being like, this
This is not-
like,
Mm-hmm.
this is not anything. And like, it's like, I feel like guys don't really get that. They're just like, oh no, like she's in love with me. I'm like, I'm absolutely not. Like, I don't care.
Probably it's hard
So
to get.
like for 3 years, I was like very much focused on myself. I knew I wasn't in a place that I was ready to meet someone, but also I was kind of, aware of my ticking clock. Like I do want a family. I do want that. And then I had a housemate up until the end of last year. So I kind of knew that I wasn't ready to meet someone when I was living with someone. And then my dog was really sick. He unfortunately passed away at the end of February. So I kind of knew the beginning of the year wasn't the right time. I just needed, I knew that. So my dog, like, oh God, I still cry every day. But he got me through,
yeah.
really, really hard things. And I knew that he would wait until he knew that I was okay and ready to meet someone before he went. So
That's amazing.
like end of February, he passed away. And then I was away for a month, having some time out, like no, whatever. And I got back at the end of April and I was like, now I'm ready. Like now I am ready to meet someone like intentional. Like I'm in a good place. I'm solid in my career. Like I don't have, a weird living situation. I don't have a dying dog. Like
Yeah.
I'm in a good place. So re-downloaded the apps. I'm on Raya. I'm on Hinge, and I actually
another
met
Raya one. We just spoke to someone
We're
on
like, that's
Raya.
clearly the popular
Yeah,
one.
so I actually met someone. We were kind of dating for a few weeks. Everything kind of like ticked every box. But unfortunately, he wasn't sure whether he wanted children or not. So that kind of ended like this weekend. I was like, that's not. That's kind of a risk that I don't want to take, and I don't want to kind of get any more emotionally attached, which is a
Wow.
new way for me to date, very early to be having that conversation. But for me, I'm not going to waste my time. Like being a mother is definitely something that is in my future. I know I've got a couple of kids waiting for,
Aww.
the right time. So yeah, that was a real bummer. And that was kind of a new feeling for me of like, oh wow, like it was difficult because everything else aligned so well, but that's something that I have to think about now because I don't have time to waste. Like I'm not looking for a
that.
baby daddy, but I know that my next partner is going to be the father of my children.
100%.
So-
If you know, it's like,
Yeah.
what's the point,
But
right?
so yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of was, and honestly, as soon as I thought that, I started talking. He popped up and started talking to me that day. So and
Another person.
No, he did. But I was like, if I put my mind to it, it kind of happens. And I kind of thought, like his first message was about, my dog, and I just thought Moose had kind of something to do with like, But he was not Mr. Right, but he was definitely Mr. Right direction.
That's right.
He's very, very kind, which is something that like historically I've not gone for, and I'm ready for that in my life. Like I want a really kind person, and I don't need not a calm person. Like I like the really calm, stable, is a really nice balance for me, because sometimes I can be a little bit chaotic, and my life is kind of crazy right now.
Okay.
I think, Megan,
I just have one last
Yeah,
quick question
that's
for
good.
me. So was it on Hinge or was it on Raya?
I actually met that one on Hinge.
Hinge.
Oh.
Okay, good.
We're gonna be
keep our
downloading
search
all
But
of
it's
that.
difficult.
Okay.
Like honestly, dating in Newport Beach, like I have not really
the
dated
tally.
in Newport Beach, but it's hard because I'm 38. I'm not going to date younger. Any guy who's kind of 40 and above, they maybe have children. They've got ex-wives. If they haven't been married or have kids, like why? What's wrong with you? So I don't know. I'm kind of still like getting used to dating, but we'll see. I mean, it's going to happen.
Well,
this
if
year.
anyone can find the right person, I'm sure you'll pull in that person, because you make everything happen. But it is interesting. Like it's a topic of conversation we've been having a lot. But I think when you know what you want, that's better. So I love that you shared that, because I'm sure there's a lot of ladies who'll be listening who are in a similar situation, and then sometimes haven't nailed down what they want, and then end up with Mr. Wrong. And then the time goes by, and it's like, well, you just wasted that precious time that you have.
Yeah.
Right?
And I really do think that having that 3 years of being single, very, very important. I know that a lot of people feel very uncomfortable being single. They don't feel like that, they need the attention. They need the, feeling that, they're wanted, whatever. I've always been so independent that I've not needed that for myself. Like I've truly not like needed that. Which I feel is really, it just puts me in such a powerful position right now, because I'm like, I know my worth. I know what I bring to the table. I am not looking for someone to save me. I'm not looking for someone to like financially take care of me because I don't have my own shit going on. Like I'm good. Like I want someone to enjoy my life with, rather than like, oh, I need someone to like,
take care
of me. Like that isn't something that I want. And I think people, the guys in Newport kind of find that
probably refreshing or different.
Like it's quite a novel idea for them, I think. So
I think it's a good idea. Like, what's the point of? I mean, there's all types of relationships out there, but I think the best ones are like you want to have fun with someone, right? So I think that's the best type of partnership.
Yeah.
So I'm sure,
and not being so
it.
like it definitely is. I'm open to more things. The height still is not a question. Like it has to begin with a 6. Like I'm very heightist. I have tried, I just can't. Like I can't. But the last guy was vegan, which is not my thing, and it was fine. It turns out I'm okay with that.
That's a little bit less of the deal breaker. I'll take a vegan too. So, but. On that note, we do have to wrap up. We love talking to you.
Should we ask
so
our
great to see
final
you guys.
question?
Yes.
Okay, we're leaving. You can ask it this time. You go for it. Yeah.
Okay, so our final question on all our podcasts is, what does a modern day wife mean to you?
I mean, I am my own modern day wife. I am divorced. I am a businesswoman. I, have such a successful social business, family, thing going on that, I am my own modern day wife,
I love that.
Love that.
I don't know whether that's a good answer.
No,
or
it's
not,
a great answer.
but I'm like, I'm my own wife.
You are the woman doing it all.
I'm my own wifey for lifey.
I love
So, I better enjoy myself, you know?
That's the requisite, I think, to finding the right
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
So
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
and
you.
lastly, where can everyone follow you at? Because we definitely want everyone to be in touch with you.
Yes, I've got some fun stuff coming up. Can't say anything more than that. But yes, if you want to keep tabs on what I have been up to or what I will be up to, you can follow me on Instagram at Brindle.
Awesome.
perfect.
Thank you.
So great to see you guys.
Yes.